Welcome on into Second Round Syndrome, your talk for the Philadelphia 76ers and the NBA. I'm your host, DJ Sports Zone. With me is my brand new co-host, Jordan Sabel. Everyone give him a round of applause. Woo! How's it going?
Hey everyone, hey DJ. So glad to be on the show. So excited to talk about the Sixers and the great NBA, some professional hoops. Let's go. Let's talk about this now. Let's go.
Jordan and I have known each other since middle school, which is crazy. We've known each other for a long, long time. And we recently reconnected a couple weeks back. We watched a Sixers game at Chickies and Pete's, well before even discussing the possibility of doing this show together. And I just thought Jordan would be a perfect fit to join. So I'm very excited. Jordan in particular is very knowledgeable with college basketball. He's a huge Sixers fan, but he knows so much about college hoops. So I know as we get closer to the NBA draft, which I know we're well a ways away from that, but as we start getting closer, Jordan is going to be the man to tell us who to look out for the Sixers and for definitely some of the other teams that might be in the lottery coming up. So Jordan, the 76ers right now, they're 26 and 21, 6 in the Eastern Conference. The audience has heard my takes for the last 9 episodes. Overall, because this season has been up and down, obviously way better than what we saw from that crapshoot last season. What are your overall thoughts, good, bad, in between, of the 76ers so far in the 2025 to 2026 NBA season?
It's much more watchable than last year. That's the first thing I can say. I'm enjoying watching a when healthy Embiid and Maxey and of course all of the other stars on the team. When they're all playing, the team is definitely at its best. And that was something I couldn't say last year. In that awful. Let's put it right at say it what it is. It's an awful season. But I'm glad we've moved on. We're able to pick up Edgecombe in the draft and go forward from there. And we're again up and down season this year, but I think it's going to take time for all the players to come back, get healthy again. And I think so far from what I've seen, it's been good at some points, it's been bad at some points, but overall, I think if we can, and I'm looking forward now, but like from what I've seen so far, we have to push forward. These next couple games are super important for this team. The West Coast trip is always so difficult, I feel like, for the Sixers. Those late night games, it's just something about them. I've never seen them perform well or they'll do well and drop the third quarter. That's something that's been a regular this season. So maybe they can find a way to not do that or to not make that happen. So overall, I'd say it's been, like you said, up and down season, but much more of an improvement compared to last year. And yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to the rest of the season. Trade deadline, tons of things that we'll be talking about later on the show. So stay tuned for that. And just very super excited for everything that has to come about the Sixers later in the season.
Yeah, so this is probably going to be our last show before the NBA trade deadline, which is going to be Thursday next week, February 5th. It's going to be at 3 p.m. We're definitely going to react to all the moves that happen. We're going to discuss a couple of potential moves. Now, I know the Sixers, they've been at home for most of this month, which has been pretty neat. Although the one downside is they've actually been pretty bad at home this year. Yeah, they're 14 and 13 at home. They're 12 and 8 on the road, which is actually kind of shocking, where you feel like with the Xfinity Mobile Arena, that atmosphere, that crowd, the Sixers would just dominate at home every single time. Opponents just fear playing there. But it seems like this season, it's not as much the case. I mean, they finally won 2 straight games at home. After that horrid Hornets game on the road, they were down by like 50 before halftime, and they basically quit going into the third quarter. But they had a great win against the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously without Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then that Sacramento Kings game, they won that late, all thanks to Tyrese Maxey's game winner. The Sixers, like, this whole team always revolves around Joel Embiid. Whether anyone likes to admit it or not, the Sixers are good when Joel Embiid is healthy and he's on the floor, right? In the beginning of the season, you could tell he had some rust, right? Barely playing last season. He only played 19 games last season. This season, especially like the last 18 or so games, he's been on fire. I mean, just in that Kings game, Tyrese Maxey had 40 points, 12 of 18 from the field, 4 of 9 from three. Also, for everyone that calls Joel Embiid or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander free throw merchants, Tyrese Maxey, 12 of 13 from the free throw line, on top of Joel Embiid having 37 points, right? I mean, when healthy, on paper, right? And I know they're sixth in the Eastern Conference, and maybe that doesn't look so good for an Eastern Conference that's wide open. Them two, it's just the most dynamic duo we've seen. Their pick and roll is insane. You look at that last play specifically against the Sacramento Kings, right? The inbound went to Joel Embiid. He could have, and in the past he probably would have, taken it himself. But what he does, he ends up blocking out Domantas Sabonis and handing the ball right to Maxey. Maxey is the fastest player in the entire league. Yes, I'm going to say that again. He is the fastest player in the entire league. I had somebody on one of my videos reacting to the game saying, oh, no, it's De'Aaron Fox. No, it's Tyrese Maxey. He is the better overall player. He is just so fast. He decides to drive it right to the rim, and he gets an and one on top of that. I mean, it's so incredible. When the game's on the line, you got to get it to Tyrese Maxey. Now, this time, I'm glad that the game didn't go into overtime because of a controversial no call on a goaltend. I actually went to the Houston Rockets game last week, which that was just terrible in terms of officiating. That should have been a goaltend easily. Mm-hmm. I still can't believe it to this day. But for that game against the Kings, like, I just was so frustrated, right? And you mentioned the third quarter. Like, this is the frustrating part about the Sixers, and I just don't understand it. Like, what are they doing at halftime? They look like one of the best teams in the NBA in the first half, right? They're dynamic. They have just such a great roster, whether you're talking about Embiid, whether you're talking about Maxey. I mean, Paul George in that Bucks game, he had 32 points, shooting 9 of 15 from three. Only a couple players in Sixers franchise history have done that. I believe like the other two was like Tyrese Maxey and even Danny Green. But when Paul George wants to, he can be on fire. VJ Edgecombe, he's going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. And I think Kelly Oubre is having a great season as well. I mean, and who knows? Maybe he can get a good game from Quentin Grimes. He's definitely, in that conversation as well. He's in that mix. But when you look at that Sacramento Kings game, that third quarter, they got outscored 38-28. I just don't understand, Jordan. What are they doing at halftime to cause this? Because it's not just this game. It's pretty much every game this season, and I'm getting sick and tired of it.
I agree, DJ. I don't know. Is it something Nick Nurse is doing in the locker room that they're not getting the most out of them? They have some comfort that they feel when they have like a decent sized lead at a half, and it's just poor in the third quarter. I have no idea what could be occurring from this. To be honest, I'm not sure. I think that there needs to be some type of maybe some data study or data analytics study into what could be going on with the third quarter. Is it maybe a player personnel thing? I don't know. I know Embiid's been on minutes restriction since the beginning of the season, and he's starting to get lightened and brought more minutes now. Could that be the main factor? I don't think so. I really don't think that's
played. By the way,
close.
He played 35 minutes, so yeah. It's not like it's a minutes thing anymore.
No, I was saying at the beginning of the season, yes, there were minutes restrictions, obviously, but that can't be the main factor because it's obviously still happening now. So I don't know. I think it might be maybe a player personnel thing and what's going on with Nick Nurse and making like what teams he's putting out there. But I still think it's so consistent that there's some. The Sixers need to look into that seriously before we get to the playoffs because this is serious stuff. If you tank at quarter, there's no chance of winning a playoff series.
They blow third quarters. It doesn't matter what the lineup is. Embiid could be out one game. Paul George could be out one game, right? Everyone could be healthy. They're still blowing third quarters. And Nick Nurse, I believe, is the main reason why, if we're going to be honest, because it's not just the third quarter. It's also the rebounding. That game against the Kings, they got out rebounded 46-24. Offensive rebounding specifically, they got out rebounded 15-2. And the worst part of it all is because of that, the Kings destroyed the Sixers in terms of second chance points, 24-0. That's bad. The Kings, they're not a good team. They are 12-37. They destroyed their core. They said, we don't care about Tyrese Halliburton. We don't need De'Aaron Fox. Let's become the Chicago Bulls of the West. The Chicago Bulls team from 4 years ago that didn't work. Let's do that again, but except now they're older. Right? And we'll replace Vucevic with Sabonis. Right? They're a team that can't defend and they can't shoot threes. Sabonis doesn't shoot threes. Zach LaVine doesn't shoot threes, at least at an efficient clip. DeRozan does not shoot threes. And then they even added Russell Westbrook, who doesn't shoot threes. And Russell Westbrook is one of their best three-point shooters this season. The only reason why I'm glad Russell Westbrook is on the team is because I don't think he would have been in the NBA if he didn't sign there. So this is the problem. And Nick Nurse, I'm not kidding you, Jordan. He goes into the post-game presser and says that the Sixers were lucky to get the win. Lucky to get a win against a 12-37 team. And that's the problem with the third quarter rebounding. It's mentality. It's effort. There's no real skill to rebounding. There's no real skill to a third quarter approach. It's okay. We went into halftime. Let's go out and let's dominate. Let's put this game away now, like the Oklahoma City Thunder were doing, at least in the first half of the season, right? They were blowing out games and all of their starters were sitting in the fourth quarter, right? I mean, do you agree that this seems to be like an effort and mentality issue?
I would say so, yes. Wouldn't we like it to be if we could be at the Thunder level where we can sit our guys in the fourth quarter, sit our starters? I think that'd be great if we could have that opportunity. But obviously they're not playing up to their the mentality just isn't there to be able to play in the third quarter, and then they have to, grind it out through the fourth and in a close game with a team that's at the bottom of the West. Like, come on, we can do better than this, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And they're not doing this like just against good teams. They're doing this against bad teams. Like there's no reason why they should have been down by 50 against the Charlotte Hornets. I don't care who was playing. I mean, and the Charlotte Hornets, Charles Barkley has been their biggest fan lately, watching Inside the NBA, right? They have a nice and upcoming team, right? Especially when you're talking about Brandon Miller and Con Knipple. But come on, like they are still years out from being relevant. Okay, maybe they'll squeeze into the play-in, but are they a formidable threat in the Eastern Conference right now? No. The East is wide open, right? I mean, other than the Detroit Pistons, who else is really there? I mean, you look at New York, they have so many issues right now, right? You look at Boston, we don't know what's going to happen with Jason Tatum. At first, there were rumors that he might come back. Now I saw a quote that he might be a little hesitant to return just because he hasn't played with them all season. It is a different roster since they parted with Drew Holiday and Porzingis and Horford and Cornette. I mean, they lost so many pieces. And I mean, Boston's incredible in terms of they always find ways to still win. Jaylen Brown's playing great. I mean, Kada has stepped in and filled in that center role to a decent amount. I mean, Derek White's great. They traded for Anthony Simons, and he's had a couple good games here and there. But after that, it's like you don't know what Orlando's going to be. We don't know what Cleveland's going to be. Toronto, I mean, they're having a good season, but are they going to be a real threat in the Eastern Conference? So the Sixers have a prime opportunity, but they have to start putting wins together. Now, maybe because they're a lot better on the road than they are at home this season. Because as we're recording this, it is Friday. They played the New Orleans Pelicans tomorrow. Once again, should be an easy win. The Pelicans stink, right? Whether or not Zion plays, which, he's been relatively healthy lately, so good for Zion. But there should be no reason why the Sixers lose that game unless it's because of the Sixers, not because of the Pelicans. And then they go on this 5-game West Coast trip where they face the Clippers, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Suns, and then the Blazers. If they can go on the road and win 3 or 4 of those 5 games, I think that's a dub for the Sixers. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say so. I say anything more than 3 games on that road trip would have to be a success. And like I said earlier, I feel like the Sixers always don't seem to perform too well in these West Coast trips. Now I know they only occur a couple times a season, but I just feel like every time, like whether it be the time difference or something, just the team never performs to its potential, or they have like a really good first three quarters, and then the fourth quarter, it's just a drop off of in level um, that they've played. And it's just, yes, I would need a minimum of 3 games won on that series to, feel good about where we're looking at moving on into February and into March.
Yeah, the only risky thing about the road trip, it does start on a back to back. Like Monday is against the Clippers, Tuesday is against Golden State. Obviously, that's going to mean that I don't know if how they're going to play it. I know they've done it in the past where Joel Embiid and Paul George both missed the same game, but I've also seen it where they've staggered it. I don't know exactly what they're going to do here. I mean, the Clippers, they've been playing better lately, but they're still not a great team. I mean, they're still the oldest team in the NBA. They still have, I think they put together a pretty bad roster. I mean, they let Norman Powell go. They added Bradley Beal, who only played 6 games and is out for the year. Kawhi Leonard, I mean, when he's healthy, he's definitely one of the better players in the league. James Harden, I think, is having a great season, but we'll see what happens there. Golden State, I mean, they're a mess, especially without Jimmy Butler right now. And then the Lakers, they haven't played great lately, to be honest. And that's just because of all the defensive issues. I mean, with Austin Reeves returning here, I think they're going to be a little bit better. And then the Suns, I mean, Devin Booker's been out, so we'll see how that game goes. And the Blazers, I think the Blazers have had a pretty great season, mainly thanks to Danny Avdia. But it's going to be a very interesting road trip because after that, they only have one more game at home against the Knicks before the All-Star break. So this is the most important time. This is the most important stretch of games to win because the Sixers, I don't know if they're going to make any moves at the trade deadline. Jordan, looking at kind of where the Sixers are right now, I don't think they're going to make a big move. And there's going to be one we talk about here in the next couple of minutes. It's going to be probably the biggest topic here within the next week. But do you think the Sixers need to make a move? Now, they have some movable players, right? I've seen rumors of possibly Andre Drummond on the move just because they already have Embiid, Bona, Janai Broom. They even signed Sixers legend Charles Bassey to a 10-day contract. Maybe they move him. Eric Gordon, for some reason, is still on this roster. Maybe there's a move that they can make. Do you see anything happening for Thursday's trade deadline for the Sixers?
I don't see anything massive that we've seen in previous seasons where, you're trying to go all out for it. But maybe a small player, I think maybe a free agent buyout, which obviously isn't from a trade specifically, but maybe we'll see something small. I think definitely.
Yeah, I think their need is definitely at the forward spot. That they are definitely good with the guard position. I mean, again, you already have Maxey, you got VJ, you got Grimes, you got Jared McCain, which, hey, Jared McCain's even playing better the last couple of games. I think since that Charlotte game, I think he's starting to find a shot again, which is good because I want Jared McCain to succeed. I would hate to see him go just because of his poor play, but hopefully this is his time to really start figuring it out and developing. But I definitely think they need a forward. I mean, they finally got Trendon Watford back. He's not playing much, so maybe they could find somebody in that position who is a little bit bigger in size to help, spread the floor out for Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George. That's the only thing I see. But I do want to talk about the elephant in the room that has been the biggest topic in the NBA. But before I do that, if you are interested in seeing more content from Second Round Syndrome, which I know you all want to, please make sure to check out all of our socials, Second Round Syndrome's Instagram, TikTok. Can't wait to see you there. But now, getting back to this player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is going to get traded. Now, is he going to get traded at the deadline or the offseason? We don't know. Right? There are 4 teams that Shams Charania reported as potential suitors for Giannis. I'm going to read them out to you, the ones that he listed. And Jordan, I want you to let me know what you think would be the best situation, whether it's those 4 or maybe it's another team that wasn't mentioned. So the 4 teams that Shams mentioned in the article on ESPN, we got the New York Knicks, we have the Miami Heat, we have the Golden State Warriors, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. What do you think about those 4 situations?
I would say out of those 4, I'd say the Warriors are definitely the top. They have to be the top suitor for Giannis. But I have seen recently that they're planning for if they can't get Giannis, they're gonna have alternative plans. But I think that team is specifically the number one. They have to be the top of the list for Giannis. I think if you can add a Curry who's, like I said, playing an all-star level, and then add in Giannis, even if he doesn't play the season, I think you have to look forward in this case. I think the assets they would give up, um, to make this trade happen would still they can still recover to a point where they'll be okay in the future for next season to push on. That way then Giannis can heal and not have to go through another serious injury again, or get something re-aggravated this season. It gives them a chance to reset pretty much the whole season, reload with everything that they have so far, and push on next season. I think the Warriors are definitely a top option, but I would say the Spurs would be a fun one too if they could make that happen.
I love the Spurs. I have to agree with you on the Golden State point. Here's the thing. Jimmy Butler's injury. So Jimmy Butler tore his ACL. Obviously, nobody wanted to see that, but that might have been the best thing that could have happened to Golden State, because now they have a prime opportunity, as long as Giannis wants to go to Golden State, to make that happen. Because any other team, whether we're talking about New York, Miami, or Minnesota, they have to get a third, fourth, maybe even a fifth team involved to make a move happen. The Golden State Warriors and the Milwaukee Bucks, if they wanted to, they could just swap Giannis and Jimmy Butler straight up, right? Obviously, that's not going to be the move if that happens. The Warriors have a lot of assets. They have Jonathan Kuminga, who does not want to be there. Him and Steve Kerr hate each other, right? That relationship is over. That's not going to get fixed. So Jonathan Kuminga would probably be included in that deal. I don't know if Milwaukee's going to want any of their other young players. Maybe a Brandon Podziemski. I don't know about a Moses Moody. But those are the three young players they have on top of, obviously, the Jimmy Butler contract. But the thing that's most appealing are the picks, right? Golden State could trade up to 4 of their own picks, right? And it could be a good thing or a bad thing, because Golden State, they're probably going to be good for the next couple of years. Steph Curry is 37 years old, and he does not play like a 37-year-old. As Stephen A. Smith loves to say all the time on First Take, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter that God has ever created, and I agree, he is the greatest shooter ever. And the Warriors, a couple of years ago, they were looking at this 2-timeline thing. Obviously, they gave up on it. Their focus is on winning with Steph Curry, right? Steph Curry has 3 years maybe left before he retires. You need to win right now. What better player to have next to Steph Curry than Giannis? Already when Steph Curry's on the floor, your head is constantly on a swivel looking for where Steph is. You never know where he's going to pop out and shoot that three. Imagine a pick and roll. I mean, we already saw the pick and roll that didn't work out in Milwaukee with Giannis and Dame, but imagine it with Giannis and Steph Curry. And on top of that, they have one of the better ball handlers in the NBA in Draymond Green. You have Draymond Green, who can get the ball to Steph, who can get the ball to Giannis. Giannis is already a phenomenal defender, right? Steph's not a terrible defender. I think that could work very well. And the Warriors then have a chance to win a title again with Steph Curry. Steph Curry has a chance to win his 5th ring. And if they have that opportunity, they should strike, right? I don't think they should be too worried about what's going to happen after Steph Curry. I don't think Golden State will ever get a player better than Steph Curry, right? He's going to have a statue built out there. Do whatever you can while Steph Curry is playing at the level he's playing, to get him another championship. In terms of San Antonio, I just would love that. I don't think it's going to happen because right now the Spurs, I believe they're second in the Western Conference right now. They're playing so well. But just imagine Giannis with Wemby, right? And Giannis works so well when he has a big man who could space the floor, right? He worked very well with Brook Lopez. And obviously when you compare the two, Wemby shoots threes. He's a great defender. I mean, he might win Defensive Player of the Year one season, right? But Wemby is one of the most dominant bigs that we've seen, other than Jokic and Joel Embiid. Like, those three are going to be in the conversation for the next couple of years. And as Embiid and Jokic get older and older, Wemby is going to surpass them. he might even be better than them in their primes. We don't know, right? Jokic only has one championship, and Embiid has yet to even make a conference finals, but they're both MVPs. Jokic is a 3-time MVP. I just imagine that. And I don't know what the Spurs would have to give up. They're not giving up De'Aaron Fox. They're not giving up Stephon Castle. The only one, and I know you love this guy a lot, they might need to give up Dylan Harper to make that happen. Do you think that could be a possibility that the Spurs would want to give up Dylan Harper, who I believe is having a great season?
I agree. I like DJ said at the beginning, I am a huge college sports enthusiast, and I've been going to Rutgers games for my whole life, and I was able to witness the fun but also really poor season that was Rutgers basketball last year, where they somehow performed 15 and 17 without actually getting to any type of success with two top 7 draft picks. It was extremely weird season. But going on the point of Dylan Harper, I got to see him in person. Incredible talent. I think he has all the potential abilities to be able to be a star in the league, and he's already showing that right now in San Antonio. Decent points per game, and he's coming off the bench. Decent points per game, decent assists per game. He's being a productive player on a team that's the second best team in the West. So, like being honest, they have the Spurs have done well to be able to pick up Dylan Harper, and of course they're pushing on. And let's see. Let's see. I really don't think it's going to happen, but it's fun to think about if Giannis could go to the Spurs. But in reality, if it were to happen, they would have to give up a player like Dylan Harper. There just aren't enough assets in that there just aren't enough assets in that Spurs team to be able to make a fair enough trade, I guess, from the perspective of the Bucks, unless you add Dylan Harper in and then some other players as well to be able to entice, the Bucks because he'd be a star there, 100%. He'd be a
Mhm.
star there, but there's just not enough to entice, I guess, the Bucks without including a player like Dylan Harper.
And they have salary. I mean, they have Harrison Barnes. I mean, they got other players, Kelly Olynyk. I mean, maybe even a Devin Vassell if they want to go that route. Keldon Johnson. I saw reports that Jeremy Sohan might be looking for potential trade destinations. So any of those players could work. But if I'm the Bucks and I'm trying to make a move with the San Antonio Spurs, I want Dylan Harper. I mean, just getting any other player like getting Keldon Johnson or Sohan, that's not good enough if I'm the Bucks. You want a young player that can lead a team. And the Spurs, I mean, they were lucky to get Dylan Harper, and they didn't even necessarily need Dylan Harper because literally the season before at the trade deadline, they get De'Aaron Fox, right? They just drafted Stephon Castle at number 4. So, and Castle's having a great season. I saw on Inside the NBA, one of those 4 guys, I forget if it was, I think it might have been Kenny. He put Stephon Castle as a possible all-star reserve. I mean, that's how well he's playing. And De'Aaron Fox is having an all-star caliber season as well. I wouldn't give up those 2. Dylan Harper, I mean, it's tough, but if you have the chance to get Giannis, I think they're going to be able to do more with Giannis than with Harper. I mean, do you agree that they have a better ceiling with Giannis than Dylan Harper?
I would say so. Just on the profile of the player, it's a completely different type of player. Like you said, they have De'Aaron Fox, they have Stephon Castle. At this point, Dylan Harper is sadly he's a backup guard on
Yeah.
the bench. And if we can add in a player like Giannis directly who would go straight into the team, the future is it's brighter. But then honestly, for Dylan Harper, it also looks bright for him too. He'll be the
Mhm.
star on that Bucks team, 100%. So I think it would be I guess a win-win for the player, but I don't know how Dylan Harper feels in the moment, but he probably I from what I all from what I've heard, he is enjoying his time in San Antonio and really likes playing with the team, and honestly, he's done well so far to be considered and as like a really good rookie. So for him to move on so soon and so quickly, I don't know. And I don't
It's
know if San
tough.
Antonio would give it up.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think San Antonio made the right move drafting Harper. I mean, you got to pick the best player available, even if you're not in need of a guard. They definitely made the right move, but you could definitely look at him as an asset. Like I kind of compare him to a little bit. I think his game could be better. We'll see. I kind of compare him to Jared McCain, right? Jared McCain gets drafted. You just have McCain and Maxey. You didn't know at the time they were going to get VJ Edgecombe. right? I mean, the Sixers were in such a bad spot, they had to tank towards the end of the year. Remember, the beginning of last season, they were trying to win games, even with Embiid and Paul George injured. Like they were trying to roll out Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon and Sixers legend Reggie Jackson. Like they were trying to win games, and they were doing clearly everything wrong. But now that you have those players, Jared McCain's kind of getting left behind. Now, when Quentin Grimes is off the team, most likely next year, McCain will probably be able to, get back to what he was before. But Dylan Harper, same thing. I don't know if Dylan Harper is going to ever be a starter as long as you have Fox, as long as you have Stephon Castle on your roster. You pluck out Dylan Harper, I don't know if it's going to change much for the Spurs. Unlike the other Texas team, because I know like Kendrick Perkins, for example, on NBA Today has been raving about the Houston Rockets going for Giannis. I just don't see it. He suggested a package of Şengün and maybe like Atari Eason. But I think Şengün is such an important player. Like he has the nickname Baby Jokic for a reason. And I know he doesn't love that nickname, but he can become a Jokic caliber player. He's so great at moving the ball. He can rebound. He can score. And it's either, I mean, if the choice is between Şengün and Amen Thompson, I'm going to get rid of Şengün. But especially this season, Steven Adams is out for the season now. He just had season-ending surgery. So let's just say you trade Şengün for Giannis. Your only center is Clint Capella, which, I mean, he hasn't been decent in years back in the James Harden era. So I just don't see that working. I mean, would it be amazing to see KD and Giannis team up? And if you could keep Thompson, like, oh, that would be phenomenal. But what do you do with that center position? Right. And you even look at Minnesota, for example. How incredible would it be to see Giannis teaming up with Anthony Edwards? I mean, that would be insane. But at the same time, who are you trading? Are you trading Julius Randle? Are you trading Naz Reid? How's that fit going to be with Rudy Gobert? Right? It's just going to clog up the paint. So, and then the other team that was mentioned was the Miami Heat. This one I actually kind of find interesting because the only reason why the Heat would do this is if they're willing to get rid of Tyler Hero. There's no world where you're going to be able to do this without getting rid of Hero. Tyler Hero has barely played this season. I know he had an all-star season last year. Obviously, if that's your caveat, I would do it. I mean, there's other players you can add in the deal. You could add Khalil Ware, who's a decent center. You can add the Yaku Chonas, who hasn't gotten much run yet. You also have Jovic. You have the Terry Rozier expiring, I'm going to say dead contract. Because he's probably going to get bought out with whatever happens with his contract. I could see him on the Miami Heat. I mean, Jordan, just imagine a lineup of, let's just say Davion Mitchell is still your starting point guard. Davion Mitchell, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, and Bam. Whoo!
It's a solid group. It's a very solid group. We'll see what happens. 3 p.m. Thursday. There's going to be a lot of moves. And it's all you can do is sit back, watch, put on ESPN, get Shams right on your Twitter notifications, and let it go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But the one thing I want to connect with the Sixers with the honest thing is I've just seen so many reports or rumors that the Sixers should get rid of VJ to trade for Giannis, which I just think would be anyone that thinks that VJ should be included in a trade for Giannis is crazy. They're insane, right? I've seen, include Embiid in there. Like it doesn't make any sense. First of all, what would the Bucks want with Embiid? It's the same thing with the New York scenario. Like going to the Knicks, why would the Knicks want Karl Anthony Towns? It just makes no sense. Or OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges. I don't know what they would want with Embiid. I don't know what they would, want with his contract. I mean, he still has 3 years left on his extension that hasn't even kicked in yet, by the way. It just doesn't make any sense to me. VJ Edgecombe is going to be a future star. I want that to be clear to the audience. He's going to be a future star. And if I'm wrong, you can come back to this podcast and go at me for it. But I see so much Dwayne Wade in him. I see so much Jimmy Butler in him, like that playoff Jimmy. I see that bounce in him that it just is so refreshing, especially with a rookie who has so much potential on both ends of the floor. So trading him, because like as I mentioned with Dylan Harper, you pluck him out of San Antonio, I don't think it changes much for the Spurs, even in terms of their future. You take VJ Edgecombe off of that team, you are risking your entire future for something that might not work. Like Giannis and Embiid, I don't think fit together. I don't think they'll fit together. Right? We kind of see this is might be a wild comparison, but we've kind of seen a version of this before. Now, this player is nowhere near the caliber of Giannis. Let me be very clear about that. But we kind of saw something similar with Al Horford with Joel Embiid. Again, I'm not comparing Al Horford to Giannis, but they are both players that need to be in the paint, right? Giannis in particular needs the ball in his hand, but Giannis is not a shooter. He doesn't shoot from three, right? It's not a situation, like I said, with Giannis and Wembanyama, right? Where Wemby can shoot from beyond the arc. Now, Embiid can shoot threes, but most of the time he's in the paint. He needs to be in the paint. So putting both Giannis and Embiid together, I think would be a huge mistake for the Sixers. Now, I know Daryl Morey loves to go star hunting, right? I mean, we've seen it time and time again, whether it's James Harden, whether it's Paul George, who knows? I mean, I'm sure they'll make a call to Milwaukee, as they should, right? When you have Giannis Antetokounmpo on the trade market, a top 5 player in the world, I don't care if you are the Brooklyn Nets. I don't care if you're the Washington Wizards. I don't care if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder with their 1,000 draft picks that they have. You're making a call just to see what they would be interested in. So Daryl Morey's going to make the call. I don't think they're going to trade for Giannis. If they do, we'll definitely talk about that. And I'm sure I will be super excited because he's a phenomenal player and that's an amazing jersey to add to the collection. But will that make them a better basketball team? I don't know. You also got to be careful with whoever trades for Giannis, his calf injury, because it's the same calf injury he got last season. I had an argument with somebody recently about fans have complained for years that Joel Embiid is never healthy for the playoffs. Giannis, the last 2 postseasons, has been riddled with injuries, resulting in them getting knocked out of the first round, both times by the Indiana Pacers, actually. But if Giannis was healthy for those series, if Damian Lillard was healthy, if Chris Middleton was healthy, maybe they could have made a little bit of a run again since winning a championship in 2021. But if you're not careful with that calf injury, and I hope that this does not happen, because this would crush me, this would crush you, Jordan, this would crush anyone that's a fan of basketball. Nobody wants to see Giannis Antetokounmpo tear his Achilles, right? So obviously, if the Bucks decide not to trade Giannis at the deadline, he's not going to play another game for the Bucks. I think we've seen the last game with Giannis in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform. But if he gets traded to another team, they got to be careful. And the Sixers have had the worst luck with injuries. So I don't know if I'd risk that. Now, the Warriors, I think it's perfect for them. Even with the risk, right? Steph Curry's 37 years old. You need to win now. Even though Joel Embiid is getting older, right? You still have this young core that you can build around over the next several years. Even if you don't win this year, you don't win next year, and eventually Joel Embiid, Paul George, they move on. You still have Max, you still have VJ you can build around for the future. Adding Giannis might set you back. And I hate saying that because I love Giannis. I'm going to be super excited no matter where he goes. If he ends up in Golden State, I'm going to be thrilled, right? If he ends up in Miami, that's going to be great because that's going to be the best player they've had since Dwayne Wade. No disrespect to Jimmy Butler, obviously, but Butler's no D Wade. He's no Giannis. If he ends up in Minnesota, like that's going to be insane. The only team I will not be excited about is if he ends up going to the Knicks. I will stop watching basketball forever. Just kidding, but I will not be happy.
I agree. I'd prefer for him to go out west if possible, to be out of the East. But I personally would not take on another injury-ridden player. Even I understand the capability of that Giannis brings to a team. His skill set is incredible. And as DJ mentioned, I don't think he would fit in perfectly with this team, specifically with Embiid, and both of them are in the paint consistently. So overall, just I'm interested to see where he goes, what
Mm-hmm.
location. If it's out west, that's great for us. Another great player out of the East.
Yeah.
But if he stays in the East, goes to New York, it's a bit concerning and worrying.
Mhm.
And I guess all we can do is wait, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, Giannis holds the cards because
That is
yes,
true.
he doesn't become a free agent. Let's just say he doesn't sign an extension with Milwaukee this offseason. He's not going to become a free agent this offseason, but he's going to be a free agent next offseason. So whatever team trades for him, you better make sure that he signs an extension. So that's why Giannis holds a lot of the cards here. Milwaukee can't just trade Giannis wherever they want, right? I mean, unless that team wants to pull like what the Toronto Raptors did with Kawhi Leonard. Like, yes, it worked out for them. They won a championship, but it was a 1-year rental, right? So wherever Giannis goes, he has to want to sign an extension there. It has to be on both sides. Yes, Milwaukee's going to want to get compensation for trading Giannis. They don't want to do what the Dallas Mavericks did with Luka Doncic, just trade him for an injury-prone Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a decent young player, and like 1 first-round pick. They want to get a haul, but it's going to be both sides. It's going to be complicated. It's not going to be like what Portland did with Dame. Dame still had a bunch of years left on that contract. I mean, Milwaukee is paying for that still now, which is crazy. But that's why it's going to be super interesting, because both the Bucks and Giannis have to work together to find a solution. Because if not, this is going to wait until the offseason. It's going to be a very crazy trade deadline. We thought it was going to be light because we haven't heard much since the Trae Young trade, but I think we're going to get a big move. And once we figure out what happens with Giannis, then we might see some other big moves happen as well. So I can't wait to see it. Jordan, I appreciate you joining us. You're going to see a lot more of Jordan as we continue. New episodes are going to come out every single week. So make sure to find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Amazon. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us for more content every single week. I'm DJ Sports Zone. We have Jordan Sabel here, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
See ya.